I made the devastating mistake of having an affair with a younger colleague. Now, my wife Sarah has found out, and our 15-year marriage is crumbling. She's talking about divorce, and my 2 children are caught in the middle of our shattered world. I'm consumed by guilt and regret, desperate to find any way to earn back Sarah's trust and save my family from this nightmare I've created. Hey everyone, I'm using a throwaway account, because honestly, the shame I feel right now is crushing. I don't even know where to begin. But I've been lurking on this subreddit for a while, reading other people's stories of mistakes and redemption. And I'm hoping, maybe against all hope, that someone here can offer me some kind of guidance. I've made the biggest mistake of my life, and I'm terrified of losing everything. I'm 38 years old. Until very recently, I thought I had a pretty good life. I've been married to Sarah, who is also 38, for 15 years. We have 2 incredible kids, Maya, who's 12, and Ethan, who's 10. We live in a comfortable suburban home in a decent school district. I have a stable job as a marketing manager at a tech company. On the surface, everything looked perfect. But beneath the surface, things had started to drift. Sarah and I, like a lot of long-term couples, had fallen into a routine. We were great co-parents, we handled the household, but the spark, that initial fire we had definitely dimmed. We were more like roommates who occasionally kissed than passionate partners. And I absolutely know, that's no excuse for what I did. About 6 months ago, a new colleague joined my team. Her name is Chloe. She's 26, bright, ambitious, and she paid me attention, something I hadn't felt in a long time. Looking back, I see all the red flags, all the stupid justifications I made in my head. I told myself it was just harmless flirting, a bit of fun to break up the monotony of work. But it wasn't. It spiraled. Chloe was enthusiastic about my ideas, laughed at my jokes, and made me feel seen in a way I hadn't felt in years. We started having lunch together, then occasional after-work drinks. It was all very innocent at first, or at least, that's what I kept telling myself. But then, the lines blurred. A late night at the office turned into a kiss. One kiss led to another. And then we crossed the line. We had an affair. I know. Reading that probably makes me sound like the worst kind of cliché. The older guy chasing after the younger, more exciting woman. And maybe I am. The guilt eats at me every single day. But at the time, it felt like I was finally alive again. Chloe made me feel desired, important. It was a selfish, weak, and utterly destructive impulse. The affair lasted for about 3 months. It was a constant tightrope walk of lies and sneaking around. The guilt was always there, gnawing at me, but I kept pushing it down, justifying it by telling myself Sarah and I were just going through a rough patch, that this was somehow filling a void. What a load of garbage. Then, about a week ago, the bomb dropped. Sarah found out. I still don't know exactly how. Maybe she saw a text message. Maybe someone at work saw us together. Maybe she just sensed it. It doesn't matter now. What matters is that she knows. The moment she confronted me, the world just stopped. The look in her eyes, it was a mixture of hurt, betrayal, and a coldness I've never seen before. I tried to deny it at first, pathetically, but she had proof. I broke down. I confessed everything. The days since then have been a blur of tears, shouting, and gut-wrenching silence. Sarah has moved into the guest room. She barely looks at me. The kids are confused and scared. They can feel the tension in the house, the massive chasm that has opened up between their parents. Maya cried and asked if we were getting divorced. Ethan just retreated into himself, his usual bubbly energy completely gone. Seeing my kids like this, it's unbearable. They are my world. They are the reason I get up in the morning. And I've put them through this. I've shattered their sense of security, their understanding of what a family is, all because of my own selfish desires. Sarah is talking about divorce. She says she can never trust me again, and honestly, I don't blame her. I betrayed her in the worst possible way. I broke our vows, I lied to her face, I risked everything we've built together for a fleeting, selfish affair. Chloe, well, that ended the moment Sarah found out. There was no grand dramatic breakup. It just stopped. She knew she had played a part in destroying a family. Though honestly, the blame lies squarely with me. I was the one who was married. I was the one who made the choices. So here I am. My wife, the woman I've loved for over half my life, wants to leave me. My kids are hurting. Our happy home feels like a war zone, and I'm left with nothing but regret and the crushing weight of my own actions. Reddit, I don't know what to do. Is there any way to fix this? Is there any chance I can save my marriage, my family? I know I've done something terrible, something unforgivable in many people's eyes. But I can't imagine my life without Sarah and the kids. They are everything to me. I'm willing to do anything. I'll go to therapy, individual and couples. I'll move out if that's what Sarah needs. I'll quit my job if it means removing the source of temptation. I'll spend every waking moment trying to earn back her trust, even though I know it might be impossible. Has anyone here been through something similar on either side of the situation? Is there any hope for reconciliation after something like this? What steps can I take? What should I say to Sarah? What can I do to help my kids through this? Please, I'm desperate. I know I deserve all the anger and judgment that might come my way, but if anyone has any advice, any glimmer of hope they can offer, I would be eternally grateful. Some specific details that might be relevant. Financially, we're relatively comfortable. We have a mortgage on our house, about $350,000 left. We both have decent savings, around $80,000 each, and some retirement accounts. We don't have any joint businesses or anything overly complicated. If we do divorce, I know it will be financially tough, but my main concern is the emotional toll on everyone, especially the kids. I also worry about the impact this will have on my relationship with my children in the long run. I don't want to be the dad who abandoned his family because he was selfish and made a stupid mistake. Sarah and I have always been good communicators, or at least I thought we were. Now every conversation is strained, filled with accusations and tears. She says she looks at me and just feels disgust. It breaks my heart. I still love her so much, and I hate myself for putting her through this pain. If anyone has any resources, any books or articles that might help me understand what Sarah is going through and how to approach this, please let me know. I'm willing to read anything, try anything. I know trust is the hardest thing to rebuild. What are some concrete actions I can take to show Sarah I'm serious about wanting to change and make things right? I'm not looking for excuses or sympathy. I know I messed up monumentally. I just want to know if there's any path forward, any way to salvage the wreckage I've created. To Chloe, if you somehow see this, I'm not blaming you. I made the choice. I was the one who should have known better. I am truly sorry for the pain this has caused everyone. I feel like I'm living in a nightmare. Every morning I wake up hoping it was just a bad dream, but it's not. It's my reality, a reality I created. Thank you for listening, Reddit. Even just writing this down has been cathartic. In a way, any advice, no matter how harsh, will be appreciated. Please tell me what I can do. Looking back, the signs were there, that Sarah and I were growing apart. It wasn't one big event, but a slow, insidious drift. We got so caught up in the daily grind of work, school runs, and household chores that we forgot about each other. Our conversations became purely logistical. Who's picking up Maya from soccer? Did you pay the electricity bill? We rarely talked about our dreams, our fears, or even just our day in a meaningful way. Our date nights became fewer and further between, replaced by evenings spent in front of the TV, scrolling through our phones. Intimacy dwindled. It wasn't that we actively avoided each other, but the desire just wasn't there anymore. We fell into a comfortable but ultimately passionless routine. I remember one specific instance about a year ago. Sarah had mentioned wanting to go away for a weekend, just the two of us, to reconnect. I was swamped with a big project at work and brushed it off, saying we'd plan something later. We never did. That's just one example of countless missed opportunities, of us both taking each other for granted. I know now that instead of seeking validation and excitement outside our marriage, I should have been working on reigniting that spark with Sarah. We both share the blame for the distance that grew between us, but I alone am responsible for crossing the line into infidelity. Chloe was the opposite of our quiet routine. She was full of energy and enthusiasm. She'd stop by my desk just to chat, asking about my day, my opinions on things. It felt good to be noticed, to be admired. At first, it was just friendly banter, but then it started to become more personal. She'd compliment my work, my sense of humor. It was like a constant drip feed of validation that I hadn't realized I was craving. We started having lunch together regularly. We discovered shared interests in music and movies. Our conversations flowed easily. She seemed genuinely interested in what I had to say, something I felt was missing in my interactions with Sarah. Again, I know this sounds pathetic, comparing a new, exciting connection with the comfortable familiarity of a long-term marriage. The after-work drinks started casually with other colleagues, but eventually, it would just be Chloe and me. We'd talk for hours, laughing and sharing stories. It was intoxicating. I started looking forward to these moments, finding myself drawn to her energy and youthful optimism. The night we first kissed, it was after one of those late nights at the office. We were both working on a tight deadline. She was feeling stressed, and I offered her a ride home. We were sitting in my car outside her apartment, talking about the pressure we were under, and in a moment of weakness, fueled by alcohol and a misguided sense of connection, I leaned in and kissed her. She kissed me back. That kiss was the beginning of the end. It opened a door that should have remained firmly shut. Over the next few weeks, the physical aspect of the affair escalated. We found ways to meet up outside of work, always filled with anxiety and the fear of getting caught, but also with a thrill that I now recognize as incredibly destructive. Looking back, I see how manipulative I was being, both to Sarah and to myself. I compartmentalized my life, living in two separate worlds, each built on a foundation of lies. The guilt would creep in at the most unexpected times, watching my kids play, seeing Sarah laugh at something on TV, and I'd feel a wave of nausea and self-loathing. But the allure of the affair, that temporary escape from my reality, was too strong to resist, until it all came crashing down. When Sarah confronted me, the initial shock on her face quickly turned to white-hot fury. Her voice, usually so calm and measured, was laced with a raw pain that cut me deeper than any physical blow. "How could you?" she kept repeating, her voice breaking with each word. "How could you do this to us? To our children?" I had no good answers. All I could offer were weak apologies and pathetic attempts to explain, none of which made any difference, nor should they have. The trust we had built over 15 years was shattered in an instant. The first few days were filled with explosive arguments. Every detail, every lie I had told was dragged out into the light, each revelation causing Sarah fresh waves of pain. She threw things, she cried, she screamed. I didn't try to defend myself. I just stood there, absorbing her anger, knowing I deserved every bit of it. Then, the shouting stopped, replaced by a chilling silence. Sarah moved into the guest room, refusing to even sleep in the same bed as me. The air in the house became thick with unspoken accusations and resentment. We existed in the same space but felt miles apart. The kids were understandably confused and upset. They could sense the shift in our dynamic, the tension that hung heavy in the air. Maya, being older, was more perceptive. She would look at us with wide, worried eyes, asking if everything was okay. We tried to reassure them, but our forced smiles and strained voices did little to mask the truth. One evening, I overheard her, talking to Ethan in their room, her voice choked with tears. "I think Mommy and Daddy are going to get a divorce," she whispered. That broke me. Ethan reacted differently. He became withdrawn and quiet, spending hours alone in his room. He stopped talking about his friends, his video games, the things that usually brought him so much joy. Seeing my happy, energetic little boy retreat into himself because of my actions was a punishment I wouldn't wish on anyone. Sarah stopped cooking. We ate takeout or microwave meals in silence. The simple routines of our family life, the shared dinners, the bedtime stories, all came to a halt. Our home, once a place of warmth and laughter, felt cold and empty. One night, I tried to talk to Sarah to apologize again, to beg her to consider therapy. She just looked at me with those cold, hurt eyes and said, "I don't even know who you are anymore." That sentence echoed in my mind, a constant reminder of the damage I had inflicted. I know that words are cheap right now. Sarah has heard my apologies, and they haven't been enough to erase the pain I've caused. I understand that. Trust is earned, not demanded, and I've destroyed the trust we had. Rebuilding it will be a long, arduous process if it's even possible, but I have to try. I can't imagine my life without Sarah and the kids. The thought of only seeing them on weekends, of missing out on their milestones, of not being there for them every day, it's unbearable. I've already started looking for therapists who specialize in infidelity and couples counseling. I want to be ready to go as soon as Sarah is even remotely open to the idea. I know she might need time, space, and the assurance that I'm truly committed to understanding why I did what I did and how to prevent it from ever happening again. I've also been thinking about what else I can do. If Sarah needs me to move out for a while, to give her space to process everything, I will. It will be incredibly difficult being away from my kids, but I understand that she needs to feel safe and have time to decide what she wants to do. The thought of losing my job terrifies me, especially with a mortgage and 2 kids to support. However, if Sarah feels that my continued employment at the same company where the affair happened is a constant reminder of my betrayal, then I will look for another job. My family is more important than any career. I've also started thinking about the underlying issues in our marriage that might have contributed to the distance between us. I've been reading articles and books about how to improve communication and intimacy in long-term relationships. I realize now that I wasn't actively working on our marriage, and that's a huge part of why we drifted apart. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Attend therapy, read self-help books, go on individual retreats, anything that might help me become a better husband, a better father, and a better person. I also want to be completely transparent with Sarah about everything. No more lies, no more secrets. I want to show her that I am willing to be vulnerable and honest, even when it's difficult. And most importantly, I need to give Sarah time. I can't pressure her or try to rush her into forgiveness. She needs to process her emotions, her anger, her hurt, at her own pace. My job is to be there for her, to listen without defensiveness, and to show her through my actions that I am truly remorseful and committed to making amends. For those of you who have been in Sarah's position, what helped you the most in navigating this kind of betrayal? What did your partner do or say that made a difference, even a small one? What are the things I should absolutely avoid doing or saying right now? For those of you who have been in my position and managed to save your marriage, what steps did you take? What were the biggest challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them? How long did it take to rebuild trust? And for anyone who has been through a divorce with children, what advice do you have for co-parenting and minimizing the impact on the kids? What are the things I should keep in mind to ensure their well-being, even if Sarah and I can't reconcile? I'm also wondering about the timeline for healing from something like this. Is it even realistic to hope for reconciliation after such a deep betrayal? Or am I just clinging to a fantasy? Are there any specific types of therapy or counseling that have proven to be particularly effective in cases of infidelity? Should we start with individual therapy before moving to couples counseling? What about the kids? How can I best support them through this difficult time? Should I be talking to them about what's happening, or should I try to shield them as much as possible? I'm so afraid of saying the wrong thing and causing them more pain. And finally, for those who believe that forgiveness is impossible in this situation, what advice do you have for moving forward in a way that minimizes further damage and allows everyone to heal, even if that means Sarah and I go our separate ways? I know I've asked a lot of questions, but I'm truly lost and desperate for guidance. Any insights or advice you can offer would mean the world to me. The very day after Sarah confronted me, while she was still reeling, I started researching therapists in our area who specialize in infidelity and couples counseling. I know it might be a while before she's ready to even consider sitting in a room with me, let alone talk about our deepest issues. But I want to be proactive. I want her to see that I am serious about getting help, about understanding the root causes of my behavior and learning how to be a better partner. The thought of moving out is terrifying. Our home is filled with so many memories. The kids' first steps, birthday parties, cozy evenings by the fireplace. But if Sarah needs that space to heal, to think, without the constant reminder of my presence, then I will pack my bags without hesitation. It will be agonizing to be away from Maya and Ethan, but their well-being and Sarah's healing are my top priorities now. Please, help me. I don't want to lose my family. I know I made a terrible mistake, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to try and fix it. I just need to know where to start.